This Pennywise Recaps, and today we're reviewing the drama romance, The Last Paradiso. Get ready for incredible plot twists. The film is set in Italy in the 50s of the last century. Young Bianca is having fun in the garden with her lover Ciccio. Although her sister Maria persistently tells the girl that it is time to go home, the lovers agree to meet later. After that, the girls leave, and Maria asks her sister to come to her senses because Ciccio has a wife and son. At the same time, Lucia, Ciccio's wife, takes her son's cigar and takes him home to be looked after by his grandmother. Linda, Ciccio's sister, asks her brother to break off the forbidden relationship with the girl and return to the family, but he does not take her words seriously. At home, the mother also tries to persuade Ciccio, but her son responds by saying that he dreams of moving away from their small, gloomy town. Bianca and Maria return to the olive orchard owned by their father, Cumpa Schettino, who employs all the residents of their town. Cumpa notices a pretty young worker who, in his opinion, is not working very hard. He invites her to go to the barn, where he unzips her pants and forces her to bend over to work an extra shift, even though she clearly doesn't like it. Maria, the farmer's daughter, can hear everything that is happening from behind the wall. In the evening, Ciccio goes to a local tavern where he hears a big businessman, Don Luigi, forcing small local farmers to sell him olives for nothing. This infuriates the justice-seeking Ciccio, and he starts to quarrel with Don Luigi. He shouts to the farmers that he will buy their olives himself at a fair price. All the men in the bar support Ciccio, and the angry Don Luigi goes to the influential Cumpa Schettino and complains about the impudent guy who is ruining his business. Cumpa promises to talk to Ciccio, although he realizes that it will not be easy because he is very stubborn. Ciccio returns home only the next morning and tells his father, mother, and wife how he is trying to get fair prices for the olives for the farmers. However, Lucia doesn't care about this. She is more interested in where her husband disappeared that night. Ciccio doesn't even think about making excuses. He gets up from the table and leaves for another date with his mistress. Ciccio and Bianca listen to romantic music under a tree and dream of leaving their poor village for Paris as soon as possible. Vinci is a friend of Ciccio's. He advises his friend to stop his relationship with Bianca because if her abusive father finds out about what is happening, it will not end well. Ciccio just smiles, not paying attention to Bianca's older brother, who looks at him suspiciously from the side. In the evening, Cumpa invites Ciccio to talk to him at the farmer's house. He pretends not to know Bianca. The owner starts the conversation quite friendly and says that he has known the Paradiso family for a long time. Ciccio's grandfather was Cumpa's best friend and the godfather of his children. Later, he met a young mistress and left for America with her, leaving behind his wife and 3 children. When Cumpa turns the conversation to Don Luigi, Ciccio says that the businessman is trying to buy their olives for a song, and he and the other farmers will push for a fair price. The owner respects his guest's courage, and they say goodbye. That same night, 2 men stop Don Luigi's car, drag the businessman out onto the road, and beat him severely. When he regains consciousness, Don Luigi immediately goes to the police. As darkness falls, Ciccio sneaks into Bianca's bedroom unnoticed and takes her to the closet, where they passionately engage in their affairs. Ciccio confidently declares that one day they will be able to be together. Bianca admits that she spent the night with her lover. It turns out that Ciccio fell asleep in the barn, and Maria barely manages to wake him up and warn him before the owner gets there. Ciccio meets Lucia in the church, where she complains that Rocco ran away from home last night because he couldn't find his father anywhere. A man says he loves his wife, but they have different views on life. What is forbidden for her is absolutely normal for him. Ciccio meets again with Bianca, who believes that her father is aware of their affair. The man declares that within 3 days, he will tell Cumpa the truth, and they will be able to leave here and stay for a while with his brother Antonio. Cosimo follows the lovers and tells his father about their forbidden liaison, which makes the farmers angry. Cumpa calls Maria to him and asks where her sister is. She says that she went to see a flower seller. Soon, Bianca appears. When she sees her father in anger, he shouts that one of his daughters is a liar and the other is bad. Then, Bianca takes off all her clothes and invites her father to admire her body, as she and her sister have seen Kumpa-pleasing girls many times. At night, Ciccio looks at his wife and son for a long time, as if saying goodbye to them. The next morning, he goes to Kumpa to confess his affair with his daughter. The farmer invites his guest to take a walk, and suddenly hits him hard on the back with a shovel, and then eliminates him with a knife. Lucia screams in horror at the sight of her husband's lifeless body, and Ciccio's mother faints. Bianca immediately realizes that her father did it and screams with grief, as nothing can be changed. Ciccio's twin brother learns of his brother's elimination from his boss. The man warns his fiancée that he will have to leave for a few days for the funeral. He packs his things, including a photo of himself and Ciccio together. At the same time, the police arrest several men in the town, believing that they may be involved in Ciccio's murder. Antonio arrives in the town, where Linda begs her brother to take her away from this gloomy place as soon as possible. Antonio tries to support his loved ones. He remembers his brother, with whom they were inseparable in childhood. The day of the funeral arrives, and Bianca goes there despite Cosima's protests. When the relatives of the deceased carry the coffin to the cemetery, Bianca cries and watches the process from the sidelines. Immediately after the funeral, Antonio goes to the police station, where an officer tells him that they have no leads on Ciccio's murder yet. The townspeople are unhappy that the cops arrested about 30 people who might have had motives for elimination Ciccio. Vinca tells Antonio that Ciccio had many mistresses in the town. So many men were angry with him. At the same time, Ciccio truly loved only Bianca, and he was going to move away with her. When Antonio returns home, he hears his father telling Linda that Ciccio has made many mistakes in his life and has paid a high price for them. When Lindy runs outside, the father tells his son that Ciccio tried to confront Kumpa and his employees, and that could not have ended well. The father asks his son to come home, and Antonio replies that he is leaving tonight. Before he leaves, Antonio goes to Schettino's house. Cosimo sees the man from a distance and locks Bianca in, just in case. Cosimo tells Antonio that the Paradiso family is not welcome here because they smell like dirty people. Antonio replies that the townspeople know the truth about his brother's murder. Suddenly, Kumpa appears and says that no one will dare to get close to Bianca now. Antonio says that he is not afraid of him and leaves. Antonio says goodbye to his loved ones and takes the bus, remembering the happy moments with his brother. A few weeks later, a man waits for Kumpa in the barn and eliminates the farmer in cold blood. After that, he catches up with Cosima on the street and kills him as well. The killer throws Kumpa's and Cosima's shirts next to Lucia's house. The officer wants to arrest Lucia for the murder of the two men, but the girl's father-in-law does not allow the officer to do so. Maria is the first to find the lifeless bodies of her father and brother, and she screams in horror. Soon, many of the townspeople turn their backs on Bianca and Maria. The shopkeeper refuses to sell the girls food, so Bianca has to steal bread right off the shelf. The sisters are not welcome in church, and now no one wants to work in their huge olive garden. Bianca asks the rich Don Luigi for help. The man is happy to help if the beautiful girl does not refuse to meet his needs. Luigi begins to harass the girl, so she stabs him and runs away. Antonio becomes more and more mysterious every day. Because of his mistake, a co-worker is seriously injured. At the same time, Bianca sees the image of the late Ciccio everywhere. The girl recalls how they met him. When Bianca was bitten by a snake, Ciccio lied about it being poisonous and pretended to suck the poison out of the wound, but instead he kissed the girl. Antonio's fiancée is happy to say that her father will help them buy a nice apartment, but even this news leaves the man indifferent. Antonio writes a letter to Bianca, which she puts away in a drawer without opening it. He also writes a letter to his fiancée. When she reads it, she cannot hold back her tears. Soon after, Antonio returns to his family's hometown and happily hugs his elderly mother. Antonio goes to the Schettino family home, where Maria meets him and invites him to drink tea, saying that his sister will be here soon. the guest picks up a photo of a young girl, and Maria says that this is their mother, who has long since died. Antonio gets up from the table without a word and leaves. Antonio finds his father and tells him that Kumpa's dead wife is the girl he saw in the photo in his father's wallet. The father admits that Maria is his daughter. A long time ago, he and Kumpa were best friends, but when Bianca was born, Kumpa literally went mad. He began to drink heavily and beat his wife because he dreamed of a son. The unfortunate woman repeatedly stayed overnight in Paradiso's house. It was then that their relationship began. The father admits that he never had the courage to come to Maria and tell her that he was her father. Bianca finally opens Antonio's letter, where he writes that he wants to tell her something important in person. Antonio tells his mother the shocking truth and then goes to meet the girl. Bianca is taken aback when she sees that Antonio looks exactly like her dead lover. Antonio declares that he wants to marry the girl without delay, and she closes her eyes and imagines her long-awaited wedding with Ciccio. Thank you for being with us. Subscribe to the channel like us, and be sure to click on the bell to stay up to date with our new videos.